Hey everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha, and today I'm going to be talking to you about all of the books that I hope to read in the month of August. So you guys will probably be seeing this before I film my July wrap-up. I have not read as much this month as I would have liked to, and I don't know how much I'm actually going to read in August, but I do want to talk to you about some of the books that I hope that I can read in August, but we will see how I feel. I don't want to say that I've been in a reading slump lately, just life has been kind of chaotic, so I haven't read as much as I would like, but we will see. I am going to plan to read the books that I'm going to talk to you guys about today in August, but like I said, we'll see. You probably will be seeing a couple of books or maybe one or two books that were on last month's TBR that I was not able to get to that I hope to get to in August. But first I want to talk to you about the buddy reads that I'm going to do in August, and the first one is The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Mettlestone by Jaclyn Moriarty. Wow, is that a tongue twister. You may have seen this on my TBR earlier this year. Me and my friend Olivia from Liv's Library were going to buddy read this earlier on, but neither of us ended up getting to it, so we are going to try again. We're both kind of feeling like a middle grade, and this just sounds like a really fun and adventurous one. If you don't already know, this story follows Bronte Mettlestone, who is 10 years old, and she gets a telegram announcing that her parents have been killed by pirates. Now she must travel the kingdoms perfectly alone, delivering gifts to an unexpected assortment of aunts, a farmer aunt who owns an orange orchard, a veterinarian aunt who specializes in dragon care, a pair of aunts who captain a cruise ship, and a former rock star aunt who is now the reigning monarch of a small kingdom. As she travels from aunt to aunt, Bronte suspects there might be more to this journey than the simple delivery of treasure, and even more risk than she could have ever imagined. So this just sounds like a whimsical, fun, adventurous story. I'm really excited to read it. I've heard so many people say great things about this book. I also really love the cover of this one. It is beautiful. I love the illustrations. And I think I don't know if this is like a second book in the series, but there's another one on the back called The Whispering Wars by Jaclyn Moriarty. So this is really exciting. I'm so excited to read this with Olivia. And then I also have Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. You guys have probably seen this pop up on my channel quite a bit, just because this has been a book that I have really been looking forward to reading for a couple of years, but I've put it off. It had a lot of hype around it at one time, and then the hype died down. And a lot of people probably haven't read this in a while, or like I haven't seen anyone new reading this book lately, but it's one that I feel like I really like. It's a fantasy book, and it has to do with like a library and some grimoires, and this girl ends up, she's supposed to be like guarding the grimoires, and she lets them loose, and she has to like go capture them. It's been a while since I've even read the synopsis of this book, but it sounds really interesting, and I'm sure many of you guys have already read this, and if not, this might be one to look at. I have not read anything by Margaret Rogerson before, but I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I am going to be buddy reading this with Ashley and Tegan from the Biblios podcast. If you don't already know, I was on their podcast last month in June. I was on it in June. And I've gotten to know Ashley and Tegan so well, and I love them. They are two of my new favorite online friends. You guys are awesome, and I'm excited to buddy read Sorcery of Thorns with them. Also, and I haven't run this by her yet, so Ashley, surprise, if you want to read The Betrothed by Kiera with me this month, I think I'm going to try to read it this month. I know we're already buddy reading Sorcery of Thorns, but I think I want to try to go ahead and see if this is one that I will like. When a book, okay, here's the deal. They're behind me. I loved the Selection series by Kiera. I don't think I'm gonna like The Betrothed, to be honest. When a book has a 2 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads, like average rating, I just don't have high hopes for it. But I love Kiera writing, and I'm really hoping that I'll be an unpopular opinion, but we shall see. So I am gonna try to read this, fully expecting that I could DNF it as well. But Ashley, if you're out there watching and you want to read this with me, I'm probably about to message you after I film this. Also, I don't really remember what this book is about. The young king of Koroa has never been the type to settle down. That is, until he meets Hollis Bright. Hollis has grown up at Careskin Castle among the other daughters of nobility who hoped beyond hope that they'd catch the king's eye. So when King Jameson declares his love for her, Hollis is shocked and thrilled. But she soon realizes that along with the extravagant presence and fawning attention, this new life brings outsized expectations. Expectations that make her wonder if she's really cut out for life as royal. With a visit from the king of Isoltale, I don't know how to say these words or these names half the time, on the horizon, Hollis sees a chance to prove Jameson and herself that she has what it takes to be queen. But when she meets an Isoltan stranger with the mysterious power to see right into her heart, she finds that the future she wants is one she never dared to dream of. So this does kind of have similar vibes to the selection series. So we'll see if I like it. But I am looking forward to finally picking this one up and either moving it to my red shelves or taking off my shelves altogether. Next up, as far as buddy reads go, I'm crossing my fingers and hoping. I don't have this book in my possession. I will have to get it through an interlibrary loan or purchase the book, probably interlibrary loan. But I have really been on an Avatar kick lately. And I watched Avatar The Last Airbender, the series, the Nickelodeon series. I had never watched it as a kid. It was on TV when I was a kid, and it just wasn't something that I was interested in. But as an adult, I have watched it, and I'm currently watching The Legend of Korra, which is just not as good at all. But I'm obsessed with Avatar right now. So I've been reading through the graphic novels, and I've really been enjoying those. And my friend Parker actually enjoys Avatar. He's probably one of the people that are like his Avatar's biggest fans. So that is something that we share in our friendship, is a love for Avatar now since I have discovered Avatar. I have asked him if he would like to read The Rise of Kyoshi with me this month. I don't know if we'll get to the second novel in that series or not, but I would like to read The Rise of Kyoshi, which is a young adult novel following Kyoshi, which was an Avatar before the Avatar in the TV show. She comes up some in the show, but I think it would be really cool to see her backstory and all that. So I'm hoping to be able to read that with Parker. Hey everyone, Editing Keisha here, and I forgot to mention one of the buddy reads that I'm doing next month. So sometimes when I don't have a book on hand, I really need to write things down to remember what I'm going to read, and I forgot. So my apologies, but I am going to also be buddy reading Home Before Dark by Riley Sager with Lauren from Lauren Love Reads. So if you have not checked out Lauren's channel, I'm going to go ahead and link her down below as well. She was on BookTube before, but she has made a comeback, so I'm going to go ahead and link all of her information. But we are so excited to be reading Home Before Dark together. One of my favorite Riley Sager books and one of my favorite thrillers in general is The Last Time I Lied, which I believe that's her favorite as well. So I'm really excited to be reading this one with her. I think it's going to be about like a haunted house or something, but I know the cover of this book glows in the dark. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to have to get it from my library, which, like I said again, is why I forgot to mention this. So I'm so sorry, but this is another book on my list. I'm really excited about it. I've heard good things, and I feel like it'll probably be one of my favorite Riley Sagers. Next up is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. So I have started this book in July, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. Like I said, my life is kind of chaotic right now, and it's not like I'm in a reading slump, but I just haven't felt like reading. It has nothing to do with reading in and of itself. It's just life. So I don't know that I'm going to finish it before August, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on my TBR. And I'm really excited to read this. I read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix last year, and it's not my favorite book at all. Like, it was probably a 3 or 3.5 star for me, but it was so interesting, and it evoked so much emotion in me. It was such a patronizing book. If you haven't read it, like, it made me angry, but I shared that experience like with my coworkers. We all read it together, and it made it a really great reading experience. So now I think we're probably going to read The Final Girl Support Group together, and so far I'm enjoying it. I'm only like 6% of the way through. Like I said, I don't think I'll finish it before August. I'm filming this on the 25th of July, so we'll see. But if I don't finish it, I will be reading it in August, and basically it's about a group of women who are all final girls in different situations, and they are part of this support group, and one of the girls ends up missing, and it kind of chaos ensues from there. I think somebody's trying to like target this group and kill off all the final girls that were the final girls, like that weren't killed. So that's what it's about. I've heard that it's probably kind of a combination of like 80s horror slasher films like Scream and what are those films, like Halloween and stuff like that. So I'm not like crazy about those, but we'll see. I expect it to be a little bit bloody and gory because it's Grady Hendrix and he writes horror, but hopefully this will be a good one. I will let you guys know what I think when I finish it, but I'm really excited to read it. Another book from last month that I'm going to try to pick up again is Some Kind of Happiness by Claire Legrand. I was going to read this for the Touch of Whimsy book club hosted by Lexi and Kaylin, but they have disbanded, so they no longer do that book club anymore. But I thought that I would still read it last month. I just didn't get to it, and I didn't know if I was going to pick it up this month or not. And it is kind of thick, and not that this is actually thick for a middle grade, but like I probably could read it fairly quickly, but it still intimidates me, especially just in the reading mood that I've been in. But I was kind of like looking at the beginnings of each book to decide what I wanted to read, and this says, if you're afraid, sad, tired, or lonely, if you feel lost or strange, if you crave stories and adventure and the magic possibility of a forest path, this book is for you. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a good time for me to read this book. So I'm going to try to read Some Kind of Happiness by Claire Legrand. I don't know much about it. It's about a girl named Finley Hart, and she doesn't want to talk about her parents who are having problems, but pretend like they're not. She doesn't want to talk about being sent to her grandparents' house for the summer, never having met said grandparents, her blue days when life feels overwhelming and it's hard to keep her head up. This happens a lot. Finley's only retreat is the Everwood, a forest kingdom that exists in the pages of her notebook, until she discovers the endless forest behind her grandparents' house and realizes that Everwood is real and it's in trouble. So that's all I'm going to read of the synopsis, but that sounds really interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be some, not grief, but just like some turmoil in the story as she's kind of finding herself and dealing with different things in her life. So it will probably be a little heavy, but I'm hoping it will also be a good story for me right now. Another book that I hope to read in August is One Kid's Trash by Jamie Sumner. This is a book that I received an advanced reader copy of, and I noticed that August was when it comes out, so I was like, it's probably good that I would read it now. I probably should have read it this month, but this is about a boy named Hugo, the Wizard of Waste. So this is about a kid who is basically like a garbologist. He studies garbage and tries to tell things from it. What does it say? It's the science of studying a person's trash to uncover their deepest wishes and secrets. And so yeah, this kid gets bullied because he's short, and he, I guess, does this garbology stuff, but now he's like the cool kid because he's uncovering all these secrets, and it's gonna go to his head. I don't know. It just sounds really interesting. It's not too long, and I think it's gonna be a really good book. I think it might be a good book to share with my book club kiddos also. So I want to go ahead and kind of give it a read and see what I think. So I'm excited to pick this one up. Then I also have The Waking Forest by Alyssa Wiese. I read like the first couple of pages of this book not too long ago, and I liked the way that it was written. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but it is a young adult fantasy, and I don't really know what it's about either. So The Waking Forest has secrets. It's something about a game. There's a witch in the forest. There's strangers that come into the forest. I don't want to read another synopsis because I don't want to keep you guys here too long, but it does sound really interesting. It's really short, and I feel like I'm just kind of in a fantasy mood, which I'm not usually. So I wanted to try to pick this one up. And then last but not least, I have The Night Sister by Jennifer McMahon. I am really excited to read another Jennifer McMahon. It's been a couple of months, and I was going to put it off a little bit longer, but I decided that it was time to pick another one up. If you know me, you know that I really enjoy Jennifer McMahon's writing. I have read 3 of her books, and they're kind of a little bit spaced out. It ranges from like 3.5 to 5 stars, just depending on the book. But I'm excited to pick this one up. I've heard that it has a little bit of a sci-fi twist to it, so I'm excited for that. Other than that, I really don't know what it's about. I know it's going to be a historical mystery and thriller. It says, Dear Mr. Hitchcock, do you believe in monsters? Sincerely yours, Miss Sylvia A. Slater, The Tower Motel. This takes place in the 1950s. I'm assuming it'll have dual timelines, but if it doesn't, that's fine. One thing I really love about Jennifer McMahon's books is the dual timelines that she does. I think she does that really well. And so I'm really excited to read this one. I know I have a couple of friends who also are wanting to read this. I don't know if they're going to read it this month, but if they do, we may end up buddy reading this as well. All right, guys, that is all of the books that I plan to read in the month of August. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these and what your thoughts were, or if any of these books are on your TBR for the month. Also, let me know what one book you're looking forward to reading the most in August. And yeah, I would love to chat with you guys down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting my channel. I always love talking with you guys about books. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. And if you would like to see more videos from me, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications whenever I post a new video. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.